everyone. You're listening to TLDR on Earshot. I'm your host Karima, and with me is my co-host Deepavali. Hi everyone. So, to check unnecessary hospitalizations and rising health insurance claims, General Insurance Council (GIC) has issued certain guidelines for hospitals and nursing homes on when patients with common fevers or infectious diseases should be admitted and when they should be considered eligible for cashless insurance. The Council's advisory says admission should be based on medical need rather than fever alone. It adds that patients with uncomplicated fever can usually be on an outpatient basis. The advisory has alarmed doctors and nursing home owners as they doubt that insurance companies can use this advisory to deny cashless approvals and reject claims. But health insurance buyers do not need to panic, because this is a general advisory and not strict rule mandating no hospitalization in case of common fever. In this episode of TLDR, we will discuss what are the guidelines, why it has been issued now, and a lot of other important things related to your health insurance policy and cover. Alright, so let's start with why exactly the guidelines have been issued right now. So the General Insurance Council did so because insurance frauds are rampant. Not just now, but always. Now, in this case, primarily, insurer body is warning against unnecessary hospitalization, where the doctors admit patients who don't necessarily need hospitalization only to occupy beds or reduce bed turnover intervals, which are actually important key performance indicators for hospitals and their employees. So, of course, prudency is required. Now, especially in the monsoon season, insurers receive like hundreds of claims that appear to misuse the privilege of health insurance. The council pointed out that if unnecessary claims are made, then it reduces the pool of resources that are available to insurers. It leads to costly health insurance premium paid by consumers, and of course, wastage of money that's set aside for real emergencies is definitely undesirable.
But medicine is not a pure science. So this is one of the counter arguments on why doctors prefer admitting patients in the hospital. So the advisory suggests that only patients witnessing warning signs like persistent high fever, breathing issues, or altered consciousness, organ dysfunction, or other serious complications should be hospitalized. It also covers elderly patients with significant comorbidities, children with seizures, severe malnutrition, and others like bleeding, repeated vomiting, and severe abdominal pain. But the doctors and health experts have a different take on this. They claim that medicine isn't pure science. Say if the doctors don't admit a patient today and the patient's condition, depletes tomorrow. So it could further strain the person's health and the doctor-patient relationship. So doctors add that the Western insurance standards cannot be blindly applied in India. And some doctors also reassured patients that this document is only an advisory rather than a mandatory rule. And the Insurance Council has also said that doctors and the clinical judgment will remain supreme, and that will decide whether or not hospitalization is required. But some hospitals and doctors also fear that these new advisories or rules can be, used by the insurance companies as a weapon to deny claims even when they're justified.
Absolutely, Garima. So let's explore the topic of health insurance a little deeper. What exactly should consumers know before they buy health insurance? So it's very important to read the fine print and be on top of the news. So in order to know your rights, first you should be aware of the sum that you're insured for. That is the maximum amount the insurance company pays for medical care in a year. If you need costly medical treatment, it usually involves pre- and post-hospitalization tests and medications, so you should find out if your insurance covers all of that. Some insurance providers also have caps on the room that you can rent, and they don't cover premium rooms, and they have highly specific conditions for the kind of room that they will cover, so be aware of all of that. Study the network hospitals that the insurer provides cashless treatment at. Claim settlement ratio is an important indicator of how beneficial your insurance can be.
So this figure tells you that the track record of companies, whether or not they approve most claims smoothly. Besides these, you need to know the list of exclusions. What are the specific treatments or illnesses and accidents that the policy will not cover? When you buy a new policy, you also have something called a waiting period, during which you can't raise a claim for specific illnesses or conditions before that waiting window is over. And if you do raise a claim within that window, your claim can get rejected. So be aware of all of this.
Now, apart from your personal health insurance, people should know something which exists is corporate health insurance or company health cover. So company health insurance policy or a corporate health insurance policy is a health insurance plan that offers coverage to a group of employees within a certain organization. So these policies are provided by employers as a part of employee benefits, and the premium is paid by the employer to offer medical coverage to their employees. So a company health insurance plan usually covers either the employee alone, or it also includes the employee, their spouse, children, or dependent parents. Now, employees covered by these corporate health insurance can avail cashless hospitalization benefit at their network hospitals, and they are known to include coverage for pre-existing diseases and maternity expenses. But people should know the terms and conditions. Even with corporate health insurance, you should know what is covered and what is not covered. So it is better to discuss it with the HR or finance person and know your policy in detail, so that there is no confusion when you are about to get hospitalized or when you raise a claim. With corporate health insurances, usually there are certain disadvantages, which are the sum insured is lower usually as compared to individual or family floater health insurance plans. And these coverage remain valid only while the employee is actively employed with that group or organization. So the coverage is also limited for dependent parents in certain policies. And if you want to add a dependent in your corporate health insurance, the premium might increase, and the employee has to pay certain amount from their pocket. Correct. So these things you should be aware of. And in corporate health insurance, room rent caps can also be significant, and they might not be covered. So it is important to know all of these, like mandatory co-payment clauses for specific treatments or age groups, and policy terms and benefits that can be revised or withdrawn by the employer at any time. Okay, so and lack of portability also, because when you're changing jobs, like your PF, this does not get transferred. Your health insurance with different employer is going to be different. So it cannot be consistent. And for say, if you take a 1-year job break, at that time you might not be eligible for any health insurance.
Right.
So, and restricted flexibility, of course. So a lot of people, this is the reason why a lot of people, apart, even if they're working corporate bills, apart from their corporate health insurance policy, they still go for an individual health policy for better health cover. And I think that is what we'll advise to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's prudent. Now, let's discuss why health insurance becomes, accessing health insurance becomes such an obstacle race sometimes. Now, people buy insurance for a safety net during emergencies and during the time that they're at their most vulnerable. Accessing insurance should be smooth and should not be an ordeal, which it is quite often. Because even in our personal experience, accessing health insurance has been intimidating and sometimes even upsetting. So first thing is to do your homework properly so that nothing comes to you as a surprise at a time when you are highly stressed. Because when you invoke, when you access health insurance, it's definitely at a time when you are at a personal, at a personal emergency, during the time of a personal emergency. So you should be aware. You should also explain to your family members about the health cover that you have or that the family has, so that nobody is kept in the dark. The system also should be much more customer friendly. Earlier this year, there were reports that certain states were lagging behind in Ayushman Bharat dues, and hospitals had private hospitals had threatened to stop admitting patients under the scheme. Now, this kind of mismanagement is absolutely unforgivable. It's also it's criminal. Because roughly the bottom 50% of India qualifies for health insurance under the Ayushman Bharat scheme, and it's the only safety net for millions of Indians without the resources to pay for medical emergencies out of their own pockets. Health costs during emergencies especially pushes millions of people into poverty. So public health insurance is a critical factor in India's development, and its implementation must be absolutely professional. Another thing that should be done to ease access to health insurance is just making the process a lot smoother. Hospitals are high-pressure environments, not only for the patients, but also for their families and the staff who are working at the hospital. Those admitted and their families are already highly stressed. Now add to that the lengthy and confusing process of discharge. May this never happen to anybody, but when you run through the hospital system enough number of times, you get a handle on the process. But for anyone who is new to this, it can be a harrowing experience. So a patient is not allowed to go simply after the doctor signs on your discharge paper. Your file is then prepared by the nurses and attendants, in which the medical bills and procedures and all the related costs are listed. This is sent to what is called the third-party administrator, TPA, which sends it forward to the insurer, which then scrutinizes all the bills and either accepts or rejects the claim. And the waiting period between your file reaching the TPA, then them sending it forward to the insurer and receiving a communication from the insurer can vary. And it's often a very lengthy wait. So we must have more transparent and streamlined processes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the long waits are taxing for people in the hospital. So another thing is, what happens when health insurance does not cover everything? So, and it happens a lot of time, because anything that comes with terms and conditions and is working on a business model, so the insurance and the companies also try to save as much money as they can.
Yeah.
So, and there are many families that suffer due to this hidden terms and conditions of these health insurance policies. So last moment they'll say, okay, certain disease or certain hospitalization or certain like any product that was used during your medical treatment might not be covered under the health insurance policy. So there are times you might not be eligible for cashless hospitalizations, or your claim might get rejected due to certain terms and conditions. So it is always better to have certain amount of savings as an emergency health fund for such situations. In case your health insurance rejects your claim, your savings should be able to save you.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And last but not the least, we would like to just inform our viewers on how to protect themselves from insurance frauds, because these are also rampant tactics that scamsters use to basically steal your money. So here are some tips on protecting yourself from these common frauds. Only buy policy from registered medical insurance providers, those that are registered with the regulator, IRDAI. Do not pay for insurance in cash. Only use verifiable or traceable paths such as bank transfers and UPI or other payment gateways to make insurance premium payments. Read your policy terms very carefully. Do not accept those with vague or too good to be true terms. Always verify the agent who is selling the policy to you. Ask for an ID or a license number, and review your policy and claims history for any discrepancies. You can also challenge any discrepancy with the regulator. Some common frauds are fake policy sales by unauthorized agents, exaggerated billing by the healthcare providers themselves, identity theft, or filing fraudulent claims, and individuals fabricating medical conditions for reimbursement. So we hope that covers everything you might have wanted to know about insurance and health insurance claims. That's all on this episode of TLDR. We'll see you in another one, and until then, goodbye, take care. This is Deepavali and Garima signing off.
You are listening to Earshot Podcasts. Find us on our website, earshot.in, on YouTube at Earshot Media, and download our app, Earshot, Indian Podcast app.